Are we live for real now? We did it. We made it. Welcome everybody to the Connect Show. This is episode 2 of our season 3. I'm so excited. We have an amazing show lined up for you guys today, and more importantly, we have an amazing year ahead of us. We have so many things in the works. So many things.
Good morning, everyone. Today we have a great lineup with Dave Dubinsky, who specializes in operations excellence.
We also have Lori, who's passionate about helping people find a healthier, more exciting way of doing business and life.
And the Connect Show is brought to you by Connect Media Live, which is Kim, Jon, and I. We all do Connect Media Live. And Connect Media Live is a brand that produces shows and events for your business. So if you want to do this same kind of Connect Show for your business, contact us and we can help make that happen. And we are doing a business shower giveaway coming up October 18th. It's almost a month away. And I think, are we still at the 14,593?
As far as I know, I don't know if anything has been updated, but as far as I know, we're at $14,593 worth of services and a laptop.
And a laptop.
And
I have a secret about Lori.
Uh-oh.
She was going to do a giveaway today, but maybe she wants to put it in the business shower.
Maybe. Let's find out.
We'll find out.
We want to thank our sponsor, Expansive Workspace, where we broadcast the Connect Show every week.
Studio
85. I have an expansive cup.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, their coffee's
We're like
great.
real TV stars with these fancy cups.
So
John was looking. Expansive is a great
place to work and
really a great community to be a part of. So I enjoy being here. Big shit.
And as always, we're happy that you come to watch the Connect Show. And if you think of a topic that we should be discussing, please email us at theideas@theconnectshow.com. Who do we have today, Mitch?
Well, first of all, does this make me a TV star too? Because I have
Thanks,
a
yes.
as well. Okay.
I think so.
I heard that we're up to $50 million for the. All right, no, maybe it's more like 14,500. But it feels like for a small business owner, for a new small business owner, it's going to feel like $50 million when you get all the cool stuff that is part of the new business shower. I can't wait for it. We have 2 great guests on the show today. Lori Kuhn is here. She's the CEO and founder of Thrive, a human development corporation. She trains leaders, she trains teams, she trains individuals to operate optimally, to get to their highest potential, and to work against stress and burnout. She has a certificate in neuroscience from MIT. Check out the big brains on Lori. She is a public accountant. That's her background. So she does have a financial background. But while she was an accountant and she was raising her young kids, she started telling her kids stories. And while telling her kids stories, she developed that into a book, into a series called Stories from the Sandbox, which became a kid's book and then went into more of like a water cooler conversation and then into personal development. So Lori really believes in she has the financial background. She believes in the human development, and she's going to teach us about leadership, about teams, about achieving our highest potential. Can't wait for Lori to join the show. Dave Dubinsky is also here, and he is a lean sensei. Lean is an operating system that teaches you how to be efficient, that teaches you how to get high impact results, and that teaches you how to do things right the first time, every time, with a customer focus. So really excited to hear how he combines the technical and the analytical with the cultural and the coaching as well. Oh, and by the way, Dave's daughter is the manager of all live entertainment at the Milwaukee Bucks games. So I'm not saying he can get free tickets for all of us, but maybe we can try on Giannis's ring or something like that. So Dave Dubinsky's here today. Lori Kuhn's here today. Can't wait. Very exciting. They're going to teach us how to be better people, better leaders, and better business owners. Back to you, Kim and Tracy.
That was awesome, Mitch. And I was glad you stuck in the little part about the Bucks part in there. That's pretty
We
cool.
love our Milwaukee Bucks.
We love our
We
Milwaukee
love
Bucks.
our Milwaukee
For
Bucks.
sure.
Yes, absolutely.
So the Connect Show is broadcast on LinkedIn Live, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live. So if you're out there in digital land, please leave us some comments. We will see them and we can respond to them.
The Connect Show is a volunteer show. We always ask for volunteers to be part of the development team. If you like the show, you want to get involved, email us at ideas@theconnectshow.com. I'm a volunteer. Tracy's a volunteer. Mitch,
all
John, we're
volunteers.
all volunteers, and we love doing what we do. Up next, we have Shannon to give us a little bit of info. Hello, Shannon. What do you have?
Have you ever heard of a small business shower? It's kind of like a baby shower, only Elon Musk had suggested that we, the people, should rally around and support our friends that start small businesses. And, you know, everybody gets a baby shower, but who really gets a business shower? So we at the Connect Show, we're on it. We have an event coming up on October 18th where we're going to announce the small business shower winner. We are offering over $12,000 in resources, and fortunately I get to be one of the sponsors, and I'm super excited to put on my first ever small business shower.
That was awesome,
I
Shannon.
can't wait for the shower. I can't wait for the shower. We're all donating to amazing services. So
today we are working with coaches, authors, speakers. We have all sorts of great people this month as far as guests go. But our topic today is, what does your work-life balance look like? I'm sorry, I just had to laugh at that one. Because I don't know. Is it balanced like over your whole life? Because if you combine it into like a day, some days are all work and no play.
you know, as a small business owner, it's really funny because people you don't have time off. I mean, if you take time off, you're the only person working for your company, say. There's small businesses that have multiple employees. No one's covering for you when you're off. Those emails don't stop coming in. They still keep going and going. And I take a day or two off. I regret it a little bit. So I'll still try to keep up with some of those tasks, even if I'm taking a day off, so that I'm not overwhelmed when I come back. Because you don't want to feel like your time off is not worthy. But I do think it's important to have some self-care and have some balance to it. The other side to that is I have the flexibility to be able to go do something with my kids during the day or whatever, because I do own my own business. So I can balance the scale how I see fit.
That is one of the great things. That's one of the reasons why I like having my own business.
Yeah.
And I've been self-employed since about the age of 23. So I'm really, really spoiled in that. Like, I would have a hard time going to work for somebody and having this, you have to tell me to be there at a certain time. That's going to be hard for me. And then I have to stay there the whole time and I can't. And what if we're slow or there's nothing to do? I think I would be so bored.
I know. And then, we could have someone like Phil say that, Tracy, be on time.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
kidding.
That's not
Not
that's
very
the
timely
joys.
either. I know. You can do what you want, right? No, I just really, I need to work on the balance of it and not be working every weekend. But I just retired last year, so I'm still figuring things out to balance it. Retired from corporate, I should say.
Right. And I think a lot of the balance part has to do with organizing systems and things within your business. So then you can delegate or take that time off where you're actually planning that time off. And then you have more balance.
Well, and I think too, like as more clients are coming in, it's a great thing. Then you run into the fact of, okay, is it time to look and consider hiring someone so that you can take that time off and you can provide more of that balance? Is that financial risk worth it? Even though, you're in that transition phase or, where that's a scary thing. We talked about that last week. Like, I'm going to hire my first person, that's not me, but the person that was here, I just hired my first person,
Right.
And so I think that helps to balance the scale a little bit too.
And anybody out there in the chat, you guys can put your comments in the chat and we'll pop them up on the screen.
Absolutely.
What is our quote for today?
Quote for today. You can't truly be considered successful in your business life if your home life is in shambles. Thank you, Zig Ziglar, because that is true.
That is very true.
That is so true. How do you balance the scale?
I mean, you could go to your office and it's all nice and clean, and then you go back to your house and the grass hasn't been cut all summer because you're so busy working on your business. That's not really good balance.
that's terrible balance. That is terrible balance.
I couldn't handle that. That would make me crazy.
Yeah. So far, I think we're down for comments in the chat. So if you're watching us on any of our live streaming channels, we're recommending YouTube because those comments come in quick. So next we will have a
Rajiv.
moment from Rajiv.
Thanks, Jon and Tracy. Here's your Reputation Minute. Today we'll be talking about what would you like to be known for? What does this mean, and what does this have to do with your reputation? It's very important for you to stop and think as to what you'd like people that you meet, your customers, your friends, your clients, your partners, your collaborators, as to what they're thinking of you, because what they're thinking of you is going to influence your future interactions with them, but it also will influence what they're saying about you when they're speaking to other people. It's very important for you to be conscious and cognizant about this. You can't go by just what people say at face value. You should ask them in a candid, friendly way what they think about you on an ongoing basis, because if you encourage feedback, they will give it to you and it will allow you to course correct, even if you've had a misstep now and again. Course correcting is something that creates a lot of value in people's minds. It tells people that you accept feedback, you can change, you can course correct, and you're always looking for self-improvement. This is something that is extremely invaluable when it comes to your personal brand and your personal reputation. People really like to work with people that are good to work with, easy to work with, are easy to speak to, and can take good feedback. Well, that was your Reputation Minute. Back to you, Jon and Tracy.
Thank you, Rajiv. That was some great information.
Love his reputation moments.
Welcome to the show, David.
Hey, thank you.
Hi,
Thanks for
welcome.
inviting.
Yes, absolutely.
David is the president and founder of Op Excellence LLC, a management consulting, business transformation, and small business per group services firm founded in February 2022. I didn't know it was that old.
2002. Yeah.
2002.
Yeah.
David specializes in operations excellence business solutions that include delivering consulting, coaching, and transformation services in operations strategy, lean manufacturing service, Six Sigma, maintenance management, business process re-engineering, change management, organizational development, and small business improvement coaching.
I gave you all the words.
She did. She did that on purpose. She totally did that on
should've threw some
purpose.
acronyms in there
Good, that's
too.
all right. No, thank you. Welcome, David. Thank you so much.
Sorry.
So
Question of the day. So how
Yes.
do you do work-life balance?
How do I do work-life balance? Well, so as a small business owner myself, right, it is a challenge to work-life balance, and then on top of family and everything else, it is very challenging. So I try to make sure that I always carve out enough time for family, especially when weekends come around, because I do travel a lot. So I always make sure that when I am home, I'm actually with my family and not running around doing a lot of other things. That's one way. The other way is, I think, trying to outsource as much as you can of the things that if you're not really great at it, and you have the financial means to outsource it, you're far better outsourcing the work, getting that done. That allows you to focus on the things that are more important, because time is money, right? And even though you're giving away some of your money to have somebody else do something for you, you are gaining back that time, and that time is valuable.
Especially if you're not good at it, because then that time you could be doing it in double the time.
Double the time, correct.
Because you have to research or whatever you've got to do
And
to get the
maybe not
task
do
done.
it as well.
Yeah, right,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah, like a website designer.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
You're going to try to go build your own website. We just had this conversation last night. That's why it
Yes.
came to my mind. So what are some of the biggest challenges you see leaders and small business owners face today?
So my feeling is, right, okay, it's kind of integrated, it's a multi-pronged issue, but it really stems from business owners working too much in their business and not working on the business. And whether you're a 5-person organization or a 50,000 person organization, and I've worked for everything in between in terms of clients. This is something that I see continually all the time, is that business owners, leaders are spending 60, 70, 80, 90% of their time working in the business, doing work that they've hired employees to do. But yet, because of problems or issues, it's like the fire happens, and what happens, right? The leaders start coming in and converging in on the fire and doing things because they don't have trusted committee means
Yes.
to actually do that they can rely on, right? To go in and have the analytical skills, the critical thinking skills, the judgment necessary to do the work that they've been hired to do. And so these leaders aren't developing the people, the trusted many needs. They don't have the skill sets necessarily to coach and develop them. And then on top of that, they don't really have a good management system to really pull it all together and know when their organization is doing well or not doing well.
That's an important piece there, and unfortunately, it does fall on the business owner to lead and educate the little me's.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because what happens when that business owner converges on doing the work that their employees should be doing, what happens now? Who's leading the business?
Right.
Who's running the business? Who's providing direction?
And it seems like a waste of pay. You're paying somebody that you don't trust to do the job you hired them
Right.
to do.
You become a high-paid web developer, a high-paid
Right.
accountant, or a high-paid whatever, right? Doing the work that you've hired people to do.
Mm-hmm. So those little me's, actually, they could take some initiative and try to be a little bit more proactive in their job also, and then they would stand out above the other little me's in the place.
Yes.
And
Yes.
secure some employment that way.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Well, and it's let's think about it, right? People are leaving, right, jobs right now, mass exodus,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And why do people leave their job? People are leaving their job largely because of their boss. That is still really the number one reason. But another big problem is that if the boss was actually spending time developing their people, right? Providing motivation, providing direction, guidance, right? Supporting and developing them, they'd be far more likely to stick around, right? Because they really feel valued as an employee.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have
Have to feel that value. And I left corporate America much because of that. It made more sense to start my own business, and my clients value me, so that it's a win-win.
Right?
It's really a
Exactly.
win-win. So you kind of have a comprehensive management system,
Mhm.
correct? That you've developed or that you work with. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the management system was really actually started back in World War II by the U.S. War Commission. And it has since evolved, right? It was actually transferred over to Japan after the war, and Toyota adopted it wholesale. And to this day, if you go to a Toyota plant, they still have the trifold card that the U.S. War Commission developed as part of this management system. So the management system has some critical components to it. It's really now called daily management. But those critical components are having a visual performance management system in place where literally at a glance, not only you as a leader, but your employees can see what's going on. How well are we doing? Are we winning? Are we losing today? On a handful of critical metrics, not a ton, but we're talking about 3 to 5.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, then you'd have huddles, leaders engaging with their employees, talking about, one, are we ready to have a flawless day today? But then 2, do we have a good continuous improvement plan to drive continuous improvement around these metrics to hit our goals and targets? Do you have good standard work in place, not only for the employees, but for the leaders, right? In other words, this is how you're supposed to do it, why you need to do it that way, et cetera. Really defines the role of the employee, but also for the manager. How do you get the manager or leader to stop going into the business and working in the business? right? So they need standard work as well to say, hey, look, these are the things that you need to be doing to work on the business.
Mhm.
And then lastly, it's around coaching and developing the leaders to coach and develop their employees and their mini me's, but also coaching and developing for continuous improvement.
That's probably kind of the hardest part, that coaching part, getting them out of that mindset.
Yes.
We talk a lot about mindset on the show, right?
Yes.
So getting them out of the mindset, being a good leader does not mean you have to be on them all the time. The best leaders are the ones that can trust.
Right.
Right.
Well, trust and here again with performance goals and so forth in front of the employees, they know what they need to work on. And let's face it, they know the job better than anybody else. They do it all day long. The leaders need to trust in their employees that they're going to do the right thing, equip them with the skills, the critical thinking skills, the decision-making skills, et cetera, so that they can do their job and do it well. And then all the leaders have to do is say, look, this is the direction that we're going in, motivate and really corral the team around, hey, look, this is what we're trying to accomplish and here's why it's important. If they feel a vested interest, then they're going to be there to really help you as a leader get things over the finish line.
I had one leader at my last position, and he was absolutely fabulous about making sure everyone felt that they were an integral part of the team. I've never worked with anyone like him, and he got a lot of slack from his higher level management. Like, why are you giving them all these freedoms? And he's like, because they know what they're doing. Yeah. They know what they're doing, and they do it well for me. And I don't have to be on them all the time. It's really, when you have someone that does that, it makes a huge difference. Yes. Huge.
And you're probably willing to go into the trenches and fight for that person, right?
Absolutely.
Because they were making such a huge impact on your life, right? And your happiness and your work, right? And that's the key, right, to a daily management system is how do you know that it's effective? Well, are the employees coming to work every day, loving to come to work every day, not just coming to work to show up and get a paycheck, right? That's one key thing. One, are you seeing that your goals, your performance goals every 90 days, that you're routinely working towards continuous improvement, hitting those goals, and then every 90 days refreshing those goals or metrics to say, here's what we're going to do next. Are the managers and leaders spending 60 or 80% of their day working in the business, or are they spending 60 or 80% of the day working on the business? And these are some of the kind of telltale signs that you can see when you have a high performance organization with a continuous improvement culture, or essentially a slog, right? Everybody comes to work every day and they're just sort of like banging it out to try and do their work, but nobody's happy.
It ties really well into the question of the day, though, because you're spending more time, if you're in a business, you're spending more time with your coworkers than you are your family, and oftentimes.
Yes.
So to have that feel and that culture is really important.
Yes. And so how do you extract yourself out of the business? In order, as a business owner or business leader, how do you extract yourself out? You've got to have trusted mini-me's that really know what to do, right? That literally would make the same or better decisions that you would, that are equally capable of putting out that fire, that really have your back, right, and are working hard to help the organization and, for yourself as a business owner or leader, accomplishing the goals and objectives that you have.
For sure.
Yep.
So
I agree.
how much time do you guys spend in your business versus on your business?
That is a terrible question to ask us. There are parts of it that I can spend on it, and then there are parts that I have not gotten enough people for to do in the parts of it, and that's just because I'm not at that financial level that
You're
I can.
Growing.
Yeah, I'm in that. I'm still in that changing stage.
Yep.
So.
And you'll get to a tipping point, right?
Right.
Pretty soon you'll get to that tipping point.
Right.
It's like, oh my God, life is so much better that I have the experts and the people that are there to do the things that I need to do. And then I can free up my time doing more of the things that are really my responsibility as leader, but also hopefully things that are more work-life balance and, giving you more time to do more of the things you love.
And I think that when you're a business owner, defining which tasks, you have to define the tasks also. And then you have to figure out a way that you're going to give those tasks to somebody else. And how are you going to have them show up on their own? And how are you going to, like you said, create that relationship with them so they can be a trusted person? And
Right.
Like there's a lot of stuff involved.
It's hard, right?
Yeah.
But a business leader needs that coaching and development to learn how to do that, right?
Mhm.
How do you create those mini me's? How do you create that performance management system so at a glance people know what's going on and then they course correct immediately, rather than waiting for a month and all of a sudden you get your financials back or whatever and it's like, oh my god,
What happened? What
it's
happened?
water over the bridge.
Right,
So-
right.
Every time I go to Toyota now, I'm going to think of that system because I go in there for an oil change and it's 4 lanes of cars that go into a garage and a whole like 20 people waiting for you to go in there. They all have you in your system. You go in, it's all systemized. That whole thing is systemized.
You know, unfortunately, most of the dealerships are not really as much Toyota production system lean oriented as what you might think. But
Still, that was pretty organized.
Still pretty
Yeah.
organized, yeah.
Yeah.
So, in a nutshell, what are the overall objectives? I can't talk today of the system.
Well, so you really want to have a continuous improvement culture. So you're trying to create this high performance organization that has a continuous improvement culture that feeds upon itself, right? So Toyota, for example, I'm trying to remember the stat exactly, but I want to say it was like 50 or 60,000 suggestions per year that get implemented.
Wow.
Per year,
That's a lot.
right? So think about all the employees and how many suggestions get proposed by employees, and then those suggestions, 50 or 60,000 a year, are being implemented
That's
every
a
year.
lot. That's a lot of change.
That's a lot of change, right?
Yeah, and
it's
a lot of new learning and a lot
continuous
of
improvement,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So that's what we're trying to accomplish, is this continuous improvement culture where the culture is driving relentlessly to get better and better and better at what it is that they do.
So that's a lot of analyzing. Okay, so now we made this change. Now we have to monitor it for a few months. We have to see if it's working. We have to see
Right.
if it's not. Do we get rid of it? Do we keep it? Do we tweak it?
Right.
For every one of
Yes.
those.
Fail fast. Right? So it's like try, right? If it doesn't work, fail fast, do
Mhm.
something else.
Mhm.
But if it
So-
does,
But if it does, yeah,
what you just
fantastic.
could have done is powerful.
Right, right.
Well,
Yeah.
and then that frees up time, right? So now you don't have as many fires.
Mm-hmm.
And that frees up time for leaders to be able to spend more time working on the business, doing things that they should be doing, as opposed to constantly putting out fires and doing things that are
Because all these
non-value
Ideas
added.
are helping prevent the fires.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So it's creating that continuous improvement culture, making things visible, coaching and developing leaders on how to coach and develop the mini me's, and those mini me's then coaching and developing the employees, right? It's
Figure it out now. We know exactly what to do.
self-fulfilling system, if you will, that continually works upon itself to get better and better every day.
Mhm. And with a business, I don't think that you're ever stopping to learn or to grow. It's constant. Constant.
And it really doesn't matter the size of the business. This could work for anyone,
Mhm.
any business.
Any
It does
business,
not have
any
to be.
I've worked at
A Toyota
I've worked
size.
at schools implementing this. I've worked at all the big three auto manufacturers, Michelin, Samsung, insurance companies, pharmaceutical companies. Doesn't matter. It applies anywhere.
So these are the kind of
Approaches that you're teaching your clients
Yes.
that you take on.
Right.
Nice.
So how to
Do you hold them accountable for certain actions?
absolutely.
Oh boy.
He liked answering that. He was like, "Yes, I do."
Well, that's a huge part of the system, right? Is driving accountability, because guess what? The leader is going to drive accountability with the mini me, who's going to drive accountability with the employee. And so if you're not driving that accountability, things fall apart very quickly, right? So, and it's not like beat you up over the head kind of driving accountability. It's around, hey, look, let's really understand the situation. What can you, right? So it's using a lot of Socratic technique and asking, what can you get accomplished today?
Yeah.
What are you committing to? I'm not going to push it on you, but what are you going to commit to? And I say, great, that sounds awesome. What can I do to help you be successful in that? Right. And then I, as a leader, need to stand up, and if you're asking for X, Y, or Z, I need to help deliver it to you. But then after X, Y, Z gets delivered and you commit to making those accomplishments, then I'm gonna check in on you, see how it's going, right?
You're
So how's it
probably-
going, Kim?
You're probably not very liked at the beginning and then really liked at the end after everything's
Right, after,
accomplished,
yes,
right?
yeah,
God,
it's-
this guy's coming to help
Me again, I
It's
don't
like,
want
oh
to hear
my
it.
God, run for the hills. He's gonna ask me questions and hold me accountable.
Oh no, I don't want that meeting today.
Right.
Well, that's great information. I hear you are a co-author of a book.
I am. You know what? I should have brought it up in my hand and I didn't bring it, but it's called Driving Operational Excellence.
Okay.
It was co-authored by a number of, they're going to hand it to me here. It was co-authored by a number of several colleagues of mine. And so we got together and put together this book. So each of us kind of wrote a chapter. Mine is on daily management, actually. So, but each of us wrote a chapter about how to create operational excellence in your organization and how that occurs. So everyone had a different part to play, and it's awesome. And it actually made Amazon's bestseller list. So
Congratulations.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
fabulous. Love it.
That's awesome.
Love it, love it, love it.
Well, thank you so much for coming on
Yeah,
today.
thank
This
you
was
for
great
inviting.
information.
Absolutely.
Do you have an offer or an event you'd like to share with our audience today?
Well, certainly, I brought a few books for you guys to hand out, right?
very awesome.
But also, like, to anyone, right? For me, this is a passion, right? It's part of it's what gets me up in the morning every day, what I love to do. I am happy to help anybody, right? So any type of scoping visit or conversation that you might want to have to really discuss about your business, how it's going, what are your goals and objectives for the business? What are you trying to accomplish? Happy to help discuss that with you, right? And provide some guidance if I can, right? To help you along. And you know what, if it makes sense to engage in more, serious work, then fantastic. If not, that's totally cool too.
Just made a new friend.
Yeah, just
Right.
made a new friend, and great opportunity to help the community. I'm kind of at the point now, 30 plus years of consulting. I'm sort of, I don't want to say sunsetting, but I'm definitely at a point now where it's like money's not the only thing. Driving impact for companies and making a difference is what's important. So
Oh, I love that. I love that. Well, you can connect with Dave on our website. We have a page for him, connectshow.com/David Dubinsky, and John's got that up on the screen for you. So definitely connect, and we appreciate you coming on with
absolutely.
us today. So great information.
thanks for
Thanks.
inviting.
Thanks so much.
Yes, absolutely.
Who do we have next?
Mitch.
Mr. John. Who do we have next?
All right, we've got Mitch coming up next. Let's hear.
Thanks, Kim and Tracy. My name's Mitch Nellis, aka Thunder. You might have seen me earlier with the hype video, but I'm here now to talk about podcasting because I love podcasting and I love storytelling. And I know that there's a 40 million podcasts out there, and some of them are great and some of them aren't as great. But I still know there are more people who want to get into podcasting who aren't podcasting. And I know a lot of times we say that the first step is always the hardest step, which is semi-true, but that's not true for everybody. But if you are looking to make that first step, I have some advice for you. The advice I have is if you're looking to write a novel, you don't sit down and write a novel. You have drafts, you have notes, you have bullet points, all those sorts of things. So if you're looking to start a podcast, just start recording. Just hit record. And you might interrupt yourself and have thoughts. And you might be interviewing somebody and you might have to stop recording, or you might have to tell them, hold on a second, I need to collect myself, I got lost there. All those things are okay to do when you're starting off in podcasting. The more you get comfortable with hitting record and just talking and just interviewing and just listening and being part of it, the better. But if you don't hit record, there's no podcast there. I know a lot of times we say you want to have 4 podcasts in the bank or 5 in the bank or however many it is, and it depends on what your content is and how timely you want your content to be. But the first thing you need to do is you need to hit record, and you need some bad first drafts. That's what a first draft's supposed to be. Failure is your first attempt in learning. That's okay. Go ahead. Fail. Do terribly. Make an awful podcast. Because if you make an awful podcast, you're closer to making a great podcast. Back to you, Kim and Tracy.
I just love that. Go ahead, you guys. Just go fail.
Do it.
Go make an
Fail.
awful podcast. Just go do it.
Mitch knows what's up.
Because you will. You will. You do it a few times. You'll get sick and tired, and then you'll learn how to do it better, and it'll be great.
Absolutely.
Oh, we're gonna bring up the I want to say baby shower, bridal, not bridal.
It's not bridal or a baby.
It's a business shower. It's a business shower coming up October 18th for Fusion. We're giving away our business shower gift of $14,593 worth of services. It's so great, and a laptop on top of that. So please come on October 18th, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. You can come right here at Expansive. You can join us on Zoom. You can watch us on YouTube, but show up somehow for that day.
Show up. It's going to be a great day. Tons of valuable information, plus someone's winning the shower. $14,593 worth of services, plus that laptop. So super excited.
Welcome, Lori.
Hello, Lori.
Hello.
Lori is the co-founder and CEO of Thrive, a human development company. She currently works with small to global size companies, coaching executives and training leaders, teams, and influencers using leading edge skills, strategies, and concepts to make the most impact in their business.
Lori has an extensive business background, which includes public accounting and national and global accounting firms. For over 30 years, Lori has thrived in the financial business, and consulting industries, primarily working with Fortune 500 companies.
Welcome to the show, Lori.
Thanks for joining us today. Yes.
So the question of the day. Balance.
Life work. It's interesting because I do a workshop on work-life balance and how it's a myth. I really believe that. And so I always attribute a lot of it to your focus and your perspective. And so a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today is your focus and why we focus on what we do, how we lose our focus, some of those dynamics.
I think I'm going to like what she has to say. It's a myth. Just forget it.
I think it should be over your whole lifetime, because the first 12 years of your life, you weren't working at all.
Yeah.
So can we just add that in there? But then again, that would make sense because and you're an adult, you work more than you play. So maybe it does work out in the end.
And your work can be your play.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
It can.
This is kind of fun right now, and we're kind of working.
Yeah, we're
Right.
working. It's fun.
But we're having fun.
There you go.
We're working and it's fun.
Yes.
I don't know. We laugh. We do a lot of stuff. Networking is fun.
Uh-huh.
Networking is tons of fun.
Socializing.
Yes.
It's funny because during COVID, I never would have thought I was a really social person. I would have said, yeah, to some degree. And then during COVID, I'm like, oh, I'm a social person. Like, I need to talk to people. I've been cooped up too long. Yeah.
I found out the same thing because I mainly spend time behind the computer doing website or social media or, that kind of stuff. And then I realized, I think I need more people around me. I just can't be looking at this screen all day doing this stuff.
I discovered the same thing during COVID.
It just made me think of something. So before COVID, you were still on your computer all the time. And do you have more of a social life now, like what networking type? Because you created all of these networking events that were done on Zoom,
Mm-hmm.
but previously you would have just been in your house on your computer or at a cafe or something.
I would have had a
doing-
networking event once a month
So-
versus now twice a week
It's
at
more than
minimum.
twice.
Yeah.
It's more than twice.
Yeah. So maybe I just grew to like it more.
I think so. And you get more socialization out of it. I love it. So why is it hard, Lori, to maintain your focus? That is a question for Lori today.
It's interesting because there's a lot out there about what to focus on and how to focus. But people never really look at what derails you from focusing. And so that's part of what I wanted to bring up today is what derails people from focusing. Yes. Social media, instant derailer. If you go down the rabbit hole, I do the same thing. Something beeps on my computer and I'm an hour later going, what was I working on? Oh no, I have deadlines and things of that nature. So absolutely it's your focus. And so part of what I really wanted to get into is the derailer of your focus. And so I liken it to a spiral. And it's interesting because I call it choice point spirals, but it starts with a thought spiral. And so, for instance, like you said, social media, all of a sudden you're thinking, oh, I wonder, somebody posted something. I wonder if they responded to a comment I made. So now whatever your focus was has shifted from what you were working on to now you're pursuing this. And then all of a sudden, as you're looking into the comments, you see something else and you're like, oh, that's interesting. I'm going to go look into this individual. And next thing you, right. And so it's this spiral where you start out with a thought on the top of the spiral. And then pretty soon you're down, and an hour, 2 hours later, you're at the bottom of the spiral. And so this can go into stress. This can go into depression, anxiety, overwhelm. I mean, you guys were talking earlier just about the energy of corporate America and, you know, how that takes a lot of energy. Well, it starts with this thought spiral. You know, you're working a lot, you have all these deadlines, and all of a sudden that first thought comes in and you're like, oh, I got a lot to do today. And then next thing you know, you're like, oh, I have this other thing. You know, someone has a fire. That was always a thing in corporate America. You got to put out fires.
Yes.
And then pretty soon you're at the bottom of the spiral. You're in full blown stress. You're in full blown overwhelm. And now you're not functioning well because, and I don't want to get into the science too much because I generally, when I get too far into the science, I can see that deer in the headlight look. But when you work from your sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight. So when you're stressed or you have a lot of deadlines or you're putting out a lot of fires, you immediately go into that system. Well, what happens is that takes all your reserves. When you go into fight or flight mode, all your reserves, all your mental capacity go into the sympathetic nervous system, and it goes into the survival mode. So now your capacity to be innovative, creative, focused are gone. They diminish drastically.
Right. And I know exactly what that feels like.
Mhm.
'Cause I
Absolutely.
can totally feel it. And I just say, oh, you just need to step away, go for a walk, do something.
Yeah,
Like, this is not as terrible as you think it is right now. It's just really not.
right. Well, and so then, you know, people come in and they're like, we need to be more innovative. We need to be more creative. Well, you know, you just stressed me out. Now you're telling me to be creative. Those are two different systems. One's parasympathetic and the other sympathetic. And they don't operate well together. You're either one or the other. And so it's just some skills and what I can do to get back in the parasympathetic nervous system, that place of feeling good and that place of innovation. That's really critical to focus and really critical to mindset and really critical to work-life balance. Because then you can be more creative about it.
All I can think about is what derails me consistently. Email. Email is my derailer. Social media is for a lot of people email. I end up in a rabbit hole of email.
And we do have a lot of clients that are doing the thing that you're talking about right now, the fire thing.
Yes.
Like, they think they've got a fire to put out and it trickles down onto us, the digital marketing people.
Mhm.
And then we need to respond rather quickly because they're all freaking out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I don't know about Kim, but I have to like practice a calming response constantly going, okay, you know, I'm not on my computer right now, but I will be there shortly. And I will, you know, because otherwise they think it's the end of the world that this thing isn't getting changed or done or whatever.
Yeah. Well, you bring up another aspect of it because everybody puts it on you. And so the other aspect of that, it's called entanglement. And so people think we pick up everybody's energy. I don't care where we are. If someone comes in and, you know, you've heard the old saying, you can cut the tension with a knife. If you're sitting in a room and someone comes in and they're happy and exuberant, all of a sudden you're feeling perky and you're feeling good. Or if someone comes in and they're mad and they're like bulldozing you, you're like, oh, that's a lot of energy. You kind of pick up and you feel bad.
Yeah.
And so part of that is that entanglement piece. It's like, you know, I could be having a good day and someone could come in and yell at me or but they're having a bad day and now they're coming in and they're sharing their story with me. Well, I picked that up. So science has proven that there's this energy exchange going on. Now I'm tied up in your energy. And part of what I do also is how do you detach from other people's energy so my good day isn't thwarted by your bad day or your crappy energy or whatever else it is.
That's why I kind of like to start the show with Mitch. He has the best energy to bring the party to the Connect show every single week.
Day,
so I believe very strongly in that energy and that piece of you know, the room that you're in is what you're going to be. I really
I do everything from an energetic perspective. I mean, even when it comes to getting involved with, you know, management dynamics, it's like, do I need to be involved in that? Is that going to increase my energy? Is that going to decrease my energy? And I really weigh in on if my involvement is necessary, because if not, especially if it's a challenge or difficult situation, I want to maintain my energy because I want to keep my focus. I want to maintain my mindset. I want to be productive and get my stuff done. And now if I spend my finite energy dabbling over here in something that doesn't require me or my assistants or my time or resources, I don't want to spend it there. And so it gives me an opportunity. That's how I check in with myself. What's this going to do to my energy? Is it necessary? Do they need my involvement?
Check in. Yep. It is constantly reviewing how you're feeling about everything as you're going through the day and how you're responding. And I think sometimes a lot of people are just on, ourselves included, we're just going through the day on autopilot. Like we're just go, 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 and not really realizing how our energy is affecting other people. And like, I think that like everybody does that.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you say we go through our day subconsciously. And there's a statistic out there that says 95% of how you operate throughout your day is subconscious. So that means only 5% of our day we're consciously creating it, consciously responding, consciously behaving, consciously doing things. And that's kind of a frightening statistic.
Right.
So a lot of what I bring up, whether it's work-life balance, focus, mindset, is that conscious aspect of it. Awareness is so important in all of this. Yeah.
So what can we do to better navigate this spiral that you're talking about?
Well, and so again, it's becoming aware.
Mhm.
So that's the first step. And just knowing that you have choices on this spiral. So like I said earlier, if someone comes walking in and they're upset and, they're angry or whatever it is, or they're trying to project their issues onto you, it's that choice. And so this is a part I call the choice point of the spiral. And so you have this dynamic where you're going down the spiral, and at each turn in the spiral, you have a choice. Do I want to engage with this individual? Sometimes you just need to take a breath and say, you know what? I don't have the capacity to deal with this right now, so I'm going to take a few minutes, or, right, or
But
just
sometimes
excuse
people
yourself.
should understand that their energy is draining someone else too.
Yeah, it's a solid boundary. It's saying this is a lot right now, and I have a lot on my plate, and so I just need to take a minute, or why don't we both take a minute? And then, come back at it. It was funny because when I was in public accounting, I once had the CFO. I walked in. At the time, I didn't know how bad the environment was because they were just acquired by a parent company. And so they were being told what to do. And it had been a family business and they didn't like that. So I walk in and I'm talking to the CFO and he's just flipping out on me. In front of he had like a staff, his finance staff was like 50 people. And he's just screaming and I'm looking at him and I'm like, what did I just walk into? Yeah. But I knew I couldn't talk to him. And he's like, get in my office now. And I'm like, I need a few minutes. I need to go talk to my team and figure some things out. Let's have a moment and we'll reconvene. Because I thought that was not going to be productive. There was no way I was going to get in his office with his energy like that. And so it's just going away, breathing, recombobulating, that's why they have that station at the airport. You get there and you recombobulate. It's like we all need that moment to recombobulate, to come back at it so that the engagement's more productive. So he can honor me in the exchange, so I can honor him in the exchange. I don't want it to get ugly. I want to resolve it.
Yeah.
And so you need that space to be able to do that.
Great. That's great. Is there a way that you can tell where you are on this spiral? Like, is there like a thing that you can ask yourself going, am I in a good spot or am I in a bad spot right now? How does a person, do you just have to get to know yourself better? Or?
Well, a lot of it's knowing yourself. Mm-hmm. But the other part of it is when you're at the top of the spiral, especially people who deal with high stress or anxiety or exhaustion, it's like that precipice point. The point where things are going to come off the rails. And so when I talk about choice points, it's when you're at that pivotal moment where you can either make a different choice or go down the spiral. It's make the choice then. So I always tell people at that point, pause, take a breath, do whatever, take a moment away. Like I was saying, leave the area, leave the space, because that's the most critical decision. Because once you start writing the spiral, it just starts building momentum. And so you have an initial thought. So for example, say you have the conversation with your boss, and then a little while later you go tell a friend about it. And you're like, I just had this really challenging conversation and I said some things I probably shouldn't have, but I was super frustrated. So I hope, my boss doesn't take it personally. And then 5 minutes later, you're like, oh, I probably shouldn't have told that person that. What if they go tell my boss? What if so? Now the spiral's starting. So it literally takes milliseconds. Now you're like, if you see that person in the boss's office, now you're way down at the bottom. You're full blown anxiety. I'm gonna get fired. I'm gonna lose my job. I mean, you've thought of just about every bad scenario that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But through those thoughts, so when you first think I shouldn't have said that, you start questioning yourself. Is this what I want to be thinking right now? And so you have those points along the spiral where you can start feeling your anxiety coming up. You can start feeling your overwhelm, that you can start asking yourself those powerful questions. I know where this is going to lead me. This is going to lead me. I'm going to get fired and into full panic mode. So do I want to ride the spiral down to that point, or do I want to start making different decisions along the way? And so some of it is, how would I rather be feeling right now? What do I have to, a big one is, what do I have to believe is true about myself in order to be feeling this way? And so that's so critical, because if my boss says something to me and I go into panic mode, it's like, why am I panicking? I have to believe something in this moment about myself to go into panic mode.
That's good.
It's the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And so why am I triggered by this? What is in this for me that I would like to unravel, so that when my boss comes in and has a stern conversation with me, I don't immediately go into I'm getting fired.
That's got me thinking.
That's deep.
Yeah. I'm trying to put it in my brain to remember to do that. Like, why? What are you believing about yourself right now? Well, you need to change that, girl.
And I get the visual of the spiral, and as you get further down, it gets skinnier. So the point to the bottom is faster.
Yeah.
Like that's the
Yeah.
actual visual I have in my head.
And it's harder to come back up. So
Yeah.
you ride the same spiral, you ride the spiral up the same way you go down. But once you're further down, once you're in the, I'm going to get fired panic mode, it's a lot harder to start unraveling and coming back. So it's asking yourself those questions when the initial thoughts come in, so you don't get to the bottom.
So it's almost like everybody has gone through this at some point. You've ridden down and down and down, and then you've learned that when you got there, it wasn't as bad as what you made your brain think it was going to be. So really, this is gaining a skill that you're like teaching yourself to not go that, not do that in your head. Yeah.
You don't have to go that far. And what I always tell people is, if you do go that far, be okay with yourself. Because then what happens is, once we hit the bottom, once we're in full-blown anxiety, once we're in stress, once we're in depression, once we're in, exhaustion, whatever it is, once you're there, just be okay with it. Because especially with people who struggle with depression or, severe anxiety, it's like the problem with coming back up is they get there and then they start heaping on guilt and judgment. I shouldn't be here. I should be feeling better. There's something wrong with me. That's a big one. And so once you get there, you can be okay with yourself and be like, okay, this is where I'm at. I'm good. And then incrementally start thinking about some things you can do to feel better. Even if it's just get out of bed today. I mean, just be easy on yourself. Otherwise, now you're carrying this heavy load of guilt and I shoulds and all this other stuff. You're trying to carry that out with you. Well, when you're there, you don't have a lot of reserves to help carry that heavy baggage out with you. So I always tell people, we all go there. Just be good when you're there. Just be nice to yourself. Be kind. So, what? I'm here. I'm going to allow myself to be here and resolve whatever it is I need to resolve in this space. And then I'll move forward when I'm ready.
Move on.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it just compounds anxiety.
And you can,
Right.
you can have a support system for that. Like now that Kim and I
Right.
both know about it, I can say, are you being nice to yourself right now?
Exactly.
Is this how you want to be feeling right now? What would you rather be feeling right now? What would you rather be thinking right now? Yeah. Because you can look at people and you see the spiral. And so it's like, are you being kind to yourself, or would you rather, start thinking something that, makes you feel better?
Right.
Yeah.
Turn it around, Kim. Turn it around.
Right. Yeah.
Flip the spiral upside down.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Open up
that
top.
is a good one.
Yeah.
You can use it. Steal it.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Totally steal it. What's the one main takeaway you'd like everyone to have from your talk today?
Well, a lot of it is awareness. Like I said earlier, 95% of what we do is we're doing subconsciously. And And so just, what can you do to bring things more into your consciousness? And a lot of it are, just some of the questions I said to you. What would I rather be feeling right now? What would I rather be thinking about? What do I want my focus to be on? And it's just refreshing and kind of bringing back, like we talked about earlier, social media is, a big time suck. And so when you become aware that, oh, wow, I've been here for a long time, it's okay. What do I need to do to get back on my focus? What do I need to do so that I'm feeling more productive or I'm getting things done? And then the other piece of it is, whatever resonated with you, if there was something that stood out, just really think about it and process it. Because what we do is we have these classes or we hear this information and we think about it and then we're back off to something else. Mm-hmm. And so we don't really have time to integrate it, but really take something that you heard from each day and try to integrate it. How can I integrate this in my day? And you just said it, Tracy, we're going to go around and, if I see each other doing this, we're going to make comments to each other. And that's perfect because now you're integrating information that you deem as valuable and that you want to make part of you having a different experience.
We hold each other accountable.
We do.
Yeah.
She does check-ins with me too because she's like, I'm feeling you're a little off today.
Yeah.
You want to talk about it? Because we'll get through. We can move on.
Yeah. And for the most part, we're both kind of private, but we have that openness with each other. It's really, it works very well. It works very well.
And it's nice to have that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm fortunate to work with a lot of coaches that are very insightful. And so when we're struggling, or I know all of us talked about how today was one of those days running out of the house with papers flying and our hair on fire. And so it's nice to have that person just to kind of express that with, so you can be like, okay, I'm ready to go on with my day now.
Yeah. I took care of it. It's done. It's over.
Yep.
I'm forgiving everything else that happened, and it's time to move on. Bring the energy up.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the lines I always use. How do we move this forward? How do we move this forward?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's awesome. That is great information today. Thanks so much for coming on.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
You have something that you want to offer, and I'm wondering, maybe we can add that to the business shower.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So can you tell everybody what your offer is that you wanted to offer our guests?
Yes, I'm offering a coaching package. So it's a 4-part coaching package. 4 hours is essentially what it boils down to. You can schedule it whenever you want it. And it's $1,000 value. And that's what I want to offer your viewers. Or if you want to make it part of,
I mean, it puts us over the 15,000 mark.
We just hit over $15,000 for our business shower. That is fabulous. Wow, I'm so excited. I have goosebumps. 15,000 has been my goal for months. I didn't open my mouth about it until maybe a month ago on what my mind's goal was. So we just hit it. I'm sorry for clapping, John. So sorry. His poor ears, but I'm really excited for it. And that means we'll get to talk to you for Fusion again.
Yeah, cool.
So,
I'm glad to be part of that.
Yes.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. It's going to be a wonderful event. Super excited. Thank you.
The winner is going to have so many cool resources. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Nice.
They're probably going to start their business on better than the majority of us.
No kidding.
Right? Like they're just going to be set off on we had to take the hard road.
Yeah,
we're
they're
going to be
have that
jealous.
solid foundation.
Yeah. We're going to be jealous.
We'll have to check in with them and see how they do in like a year, 2 years.
Yeah.
See how their progress goes.
Are they all millionaires?
Yeah.
Right. Remember where you started.
Right. Thank you so much again. What a wonderful show we've had today.
And we do have a page on the website for you with your name, Lori Kuhn, or the connectshow.com versus Lori Kuhn.
Look at there it is on the screen.
There it is.
Thank you, producer
So you can
John.
find more information about that or contact her directly. And
once again, the Connect Show Mastermind is every Friday at 10 a.m. Central on Zoom. Speaking of accountability, it
is a total accountability group.
We set goals. We hold each other accountable for those goals. It's a wonderful, wonderful group. Anyone is welcome. You can find info on that on theconnectshow.com. I think it's under events. Okay. So yeah, what a great day today.
And did you say it was on Zoom?
Yes, you did. It's on Zoom. 10 a.m. Central. Join us.
And we have to thank Sandra for doing all of our amazing makeup.
She consulted with
Yes,
makeup.
she consulted our makeup today. And oh boy, I'm going to be blanking on this part. We're going to have an amazing show next week. And
We're continuing on with mindset.
right. And then next month, we're all about networking events. So if you have a networking event that you would like to come on to the stage and talk about, please reach out to us for that, because we are lining that month up.
So excited. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to Expansive. Thank you to producer John. Business shower is not $14,593. It is now $15,593 plus a laptop. Thank you so much, Lori, for donating to that shower. We are off for today. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.